So
anyway, now ask me a couple of questions.
You a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So let's go a bit further back.
Okay.
So you said you don't like dogs as well, but do you like cats?
No.
Could you explain? Is it for the
No,
same
you see,
reason?
because I only interact with intelligence. Yeah.
What about
I'm
elephants?
not into life forms. I might enjoy seeing them, but I don't want to be in a relationship to take care of them and go through all the other things, the baggage which comes when you take care of either animal or a person. Yeah.
So have you ever had a pet before?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
well,
used to have pets in almost maybe till my 20s. Like I was very fond of dogs and parrots.
oh. So what did you feel when those pets died? You know, you must have had an emotional attachment to them because you know they were your pets. You had to look after them. It's kind of
At
your
that time,
obligation.
yes. At that time.
At that
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So what made you change?
I mean, the more you understand the nature of the world, the nature of life, and the fact that we're all playing a part, completely programmed, like why you're supposed to behave in a, so like if I see, for example, when I see National Geographic and there's a antelope and the cub is attacked by a predator. So it just tries, and the moment it comes onto the antelope, it runs away, leaving the cub, you know. Now that's a practical aspect of life which you cannot do anything. So many of the harsh decisions when we hear of being taken by world leaders, including terrorists, they're also coming from situations sometimes where you have to, you know, no choice at the time, but it will be seen in different perceptions. So when I look at it objectively from so many viewpoints, I start detaching from the emotion, because emotion comes only when you strongly feel you're right. I don't believe that. In my shoes, I feel that at that time, but the truth can be completely different. So then you get emotionally detached. Yeah.
So
when the dog died, for example, when you said, and I might feel sad, but the truth is so many people, so many animals and people die. For example, if I'm giving like a meat to the dog to eat, the meat belongs to a live animal.
yeah.
And I'm discriminating just because it's my dog and that's someone else's animal. That's God's thing. So I think we're selective in our emotions. We just feel only for things which matter to us on a selfish level. So you are pick and choosing. See, for example, if I was a coronavirus, I will hate mankind for inventing the vaccine.
Yeah.
Now, because you're a human being, you hate the coronavirus because it's killing you. So that's all subjective. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is the reason you should not have attachments, is my belief, whether it's dogs or people or anyone, because when they die, you'll feel sad.
Yeah.
So to avoid feeling sad, we should not have attachments at all.
Is that what you totally believe?
Yes.
So
A
what
practice, yeah.
So what about your parents?
Yeah, same.
So, but when you were younger, did you love them?
I'm saying I was extremely, whether you call normal or abnormal is up to you. I used to be like this maybe till my maybe 18, 19. I was a voracious reader.
Yeah.
So I used to, when I listened to so many different point of views from various philosophers, and so that kind of, when you absorb it and then you form a personality, and with a very, very clear objective of what I want or not want to do in my life, that becomes a very specific focus. So when I'm living on that, I don't have any emotional attachments anymore.
Okay, that's interesting. So, was there anything like a drastic change that or like a very, very, very heartbreaking event that happened that made you think this?
That's a good question. I mean, probably the trigger point when I was really questioning everything is when my grandmother, that's my father's mother, she used to have a habit of writing this, what is called Ram code. She keeps on writing Ram, Ram, Ram. She wrote some hundreds of books, you know, and she, to my knowledge, I've never seen anyone who's, what should I say, obsessed with God, you know, for pretty much 30, 40 years of her life. And then one day, she had a stroke, some paralytic stroke. She was bedridden, and she used to stay in some village in some. I mean, not in my house. I went to see her, and because the house didn't have much of place, so they kept her in some kind of a store where they normally store these bags of coal and this, because they couldn't have her in the house because of their problems, you know. So when I went in, I saw cockroaches crawling over her. And she was alive. I mean, she was in a what you call paralytic state.
Yeah.
So that is the first time actually deeply started thinking about God and belief systems and relationships and everything. And if this could happen to her, now who is anyone after that? So once the chain of thought starts, it obviously spreads everywhere, you know, into every system. And I started thinking about education, about various political systems like communism or democracy. It just spread like a virus into every thought of mine. That I would think is the first thing which triggered. And it's not really so much about till that time I believed in God. I just saw a human being subjected in what she believed, what people think is most perfect way to live. And if God could do that to her, then I started questioning about God. I was not angry with God. I was questioning the whole fundamentals of where that came from.
So I saw in a few interviews that you're very, very practical. Like you get to the point. So do you think that practicality will change people for the better?
You see, when I'm kind of faced with a problem, let's say, I just think of solutions. I don't think of the problem. I don't worry. What's the option I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So either I enact that, you know, or let's say there's no solution. But recognizing that there's no solution is also a solution. Then you have to live with it. You have no choice, you know. But I never worry, because thinking and worrying, a lot of people don't understand the difference. Thinking gives you a solution, gives you an approach, at least whatever. Worrying is about going in circles. What to do, what will happen, and this and that. So the moment I'm practical, you know, okay, for example, let us say one of my staff comes to me and he tries to tell me about some family matter or someone is sick, and to ask. Even before he finishes the thing, I'll say, just tell me how much money you want. You know, because that comes across as very cold-blooded. It is cold-blooded, because see, my point is he's going to reach that time, okay? And as long as he reaches there, I just want to jump the gun and get into the thing, which he might feel. But I will say, I'm really not concerned about what your personal problem is. I like you. And you are asking me, I take it for granted you will have a reason. And if I have the capacity, I'll do it. So I'm that cold-blooded. Because I don't want his problem to eat into my life, my time. That's the whole point, okay? So with regard to my practical, see, when I was so independent, when somebody asked me, if you're not married and you're not into family, what do you do when you reach a stage and age where you are no longer physically capable? I said, I'll die. I will commit suicide, and in a good way, because life is about living and enjoying. And the day or a stage or a situation comes when I can't do it, I'd rather die and see what happens after the death. I'm a very curious person. Just to live for the sake of living is something I don't, I can't connect.
So since we're on the topic of life and death, what do you think happens when we die?
I mean, I wouldn't say that this is what happens. I believe it doesn't make a difference whatever happens, because even if you go with the same mind or whatever you have, you know, and since our consciousness technically should stop. My bigger problem about human being is now who's Jack, okay, or who's RGV, who's someone. We are not us. It is a compilation of your thoughts and feelings. So if a guy called X dies, we'll always say X's body is being taken, X's body is being cremated, which means they're separating the person from the body. So the person technically is just like a formless thoughts and beliefs, you know. Now why do they even need a body then? That's one question of mine, okay. So when you are upset with someone, you're actually upset with a certain summation of beliefs and this thing. You're angry with that person, you know. That sounds very stupid. If formless things are hanging around and they just have a body for identify that those are in this body, you know. So the whole aspect of getting hurt, getting upset and getting any kind of a emotion, I think is fundamentally very ridiculous and stupid, which is the reason I don't feel that, you know. So in the context of that, when it is formless and shapeless, and whether they leave the body and go, maybe they'll settle somewhere else, or even if they are not there also, it doesn't make a difference. And the pain is a function of the body, not the mind. So when they leave the body, you don't feel the pain anymore, and you're not interacting with people, and people are the guys who create problems. So if you don't have people, and you don't have the body which creates pain, then technically you should be the most happiest when you die. And you can just fly around and maybe you'll go to Pandora, who knows.
Nice. So,
Did I satisfy with my definition of death?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.